Good afternoon, everyone. I am Carla Zevnik-Seifzer, and as many of you know, I am both an advisor and the president of ClearStep Financial. And I would like to welcome you to today's presentation, which will cover protecting yourself against fraud and cybersecurity concerns. Our goal at ClearStep Financial is to help educate and guide our clients through our ever-changing financial world. To help us accomplish this goal today, I am pleased to introduce you to our guest speaker, Officer Garrett Olson of the Greenfield Police Department. And as always, we believe this presentation will be very educational and informative. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Garrett. Thank you, Garrett, for being on the webinar with us today. We appreciate your expertise and your knowledge.
Thank you. All right, so like she said, I'm Officer Olson. I'm with the Greenfield Police Department. Been here for almost 10 years now, and in May will be 10 years. I'm going to go through some personal info safety. So I have a PowerPoint here that we'll go through. So we'll get started. This will work. There we go. So this is just some services that the Greenfield Police Department, we provide. Most agencies in your jurisdiction where you live, they have probably very similar services that they offer. So I already introduced myself. This is just kind of things that I do. I'm an arson investigator. I do honor guard, property officer, and then the community outreach officer, so code enforcement. So if your grass is too long, I come and knock on your door. All right, so get right into the scams to look out for. Sales rep, government official, grandparent scam, toll scam, Facebook Marketplace, crypto. So sales rep, you may get a phone call from someone claiming that they are trying to sell you something, whether they are from Amazon or Walmart or you name it, they're going to say they're that person from that company. They're going to try to get you to give out your credit card information, any other identifying information. Don't give that over the phone. The nice thing with smartphones, kind of like the picture I have on there, it may say scam likely. Obviously, if you see that, I would just hit the hang up button and not even answer it. If you do end up answering it, because what these people will do is they will use apps where, for example, I have an app on my work phone that is specific for police officers. You have to go through verification to get that app. I can use that app to call someone. So we're in Wisconsin here. We're in a 414 area code. 262 is very common, 608, all the Wisconsin area codes. So if I call your phone number and you have a 262 area code, a random 262 number is going to pop up on your phone. More people are likely to answer when they see a familiar area code than an unknown number or private number, blocked number, something like that. It's nice for on the officer's side of things because, like I said, when we're trying to contact criminals or suspects, when they see that 414 area code pop up, they'll more likely answer. And it's like, hey, it's Officer Olson. Oh, crap, click. They're going to hang up on me. So criminals or these people, they have very similar apps that can do that, where they can spoof phone numbers. They can have phone numbers that look like a police department's phone number, a government agency's phone number. So then when you try to call it back, you're actually going to call back to a different number than what it actually shows. The app that I have, if you try to call it back, it's going to give you an actual prompt of an officer trying to contact you. So it won't actually go through. So just be conscious of that. I always suggest don't answer the phone unless you know who it is. If you're expecting a phone call from kind of piggyback off the sales rep, like your doctor, hey, I just spoke to my doctor an hour ago. I'm expecting a phone call back. Number pops up. You answer it and they're saying it's your doctor's office. Okay, that's probably a legitimate phone call. But if it's just a random day you weren't at the doctor, you weren't expecting a phone call from anyone, and all of a sudden they're saying, hey, this is Dr. So-and-so from Aurora or whatever it is, and they want you to pay a bill that's overdue or something. Be very conscious, hang up, contact your actual doctor's office or the business itself, bank, things like that. So with the bank aspect, the government official, the IRS, the FDIC, they will never call you. I actually spoke with one of our city workers. She had the FDIC contact her over the phone saying that she owed money and things like this. The FDIC will not call you. Same with the IRS. They're going to send you postage mail. Um, so if someone calls you, says, hey, I'm an agent with the IRS, you owe back taxes, you owe us $3,000, something crazy, hang up. It's not the IRS. They're going to send you postage mail. The DMV I put on there. I've actually recently got 5 different text messages.
Yep, we
Yeah.
got it this week too.
Yep. Yeah. It's been happening more and more often, where you will receive a text message from your local Department of Motor Vehicles saying that you have traffic infractions. You have to pay this amount. Click on this link, delete it, report it as spam. Don't even answer it. If you actually have something on your record that is like a traffic infraction, when you're driving, a police officer that runs your plate's going to see that and they're probably going to pull you over for it. So I just ignore those. They're trying to get you to put in your credit card information. They're trying to get you to pay money.
Do the police ever call you to say you have outstanding tickets or something? I mean, is that something the police department?
So the only thing we do is our municipal court. So say a traffic infraction, you have a speeding ticket, you're going 15 over, you got a ticket. There's a at least for us, it's a non-mandatory court date. You either pay that citation by that court date or you come to court. If you don't do either of those, it turns into a warrant. Our court may send a letter to you saying, hey, you missed your court date, something like that. Or they won't send anything and it's just going to go into our system as a warrant. So then when you get stopped, hey, you have a warrant for your arrest, or in our sense, we have a personal recognizance bond, which is a fancy word for you can get a new court date for that citation. So you sign a piece of paper, get a new court date. Then if you don't appear, then it could be, all right, you have a arrest warrant now for these unpaid tickets. Sometimes our municipal court will send out notices, but for the most part, it's you missed your court date, you never called us. It's going to go to a default status. And then if you get stopped again, then you may have that option of doing a new court date, or maybe you won't, depending on how long it's been. So now the grandparent scam. My grandma has had this happen to her. She didn't give out any information. We don't call her grandma, we call her something else. But she received a phone call from someone wanting to get money. So she answers the phone. Grandma, it's your grandson. First off, I don't tell my grandma it's your grandson. I say my name, and I don't call her grandma, like I said. So right away, when she heard grandma, she knew, okay, this isn't any of my grandkids because all of us call her something different than grandma. So she kind of just went along with it, kind of played with the guy for a little while over the phone. And then she was like, I know this is a scam, and hung up on him. In those cases, be conscious if you do have grandkids, or it doesn't even have to be grandkids. It could be your own kids or niece or nephew, something like that, cousin, maybe your own parent that they're trying to claim to be. Hang up the phone, call that person or a family member or friend or someone that you trust to know, hey, for like my instance with my grandma. She could have called she knew it wasn't an actual legitimate, it wasn't actually me or one of my cousins or my brother. But if she had any concern, she could have hung up the phone, called me directly, called my mom or called my aunt or uncle or whoever and said, hey, is Garrett okay? Yeah, he's fine. Nothing's wrong. Okay. I know it's a scam now. Because same thing like all these other things, they're trying to get money, trying to get your personal information. Toll scam. So Wisconsin, we don't have tolls, but we drive through states that do have tolls. Indiana, Illinois. So you may get a text message that you have unpaid tolls. Yes, the toll company will text you if you do have unpaid tolls. So if you are very leery about the text message, I would not just go right in and clicking on the link to pay because it could be an actual scam and they just want to get money from you. Go on to iPass or whatever variation of toll that you're paying. Go onto their actual website or call their actual number, give them your plate. Hey, I got this text message. I know I went through Illinois last week. I thought it might have went through. I'm not sure if it did. And then they can let you know. If you have an account through iPass or any of those, you'd be able to log in and see if you have any unpaid tolls. Facebook Marketplace, we're kind of going, I left it in the phone section because majority of people have smartphones, so you have a mini computer in your hand. Facebook Marketplace, be careful what you buy on Facebook Marketplace. We've had a couple with our agency where people are trying to sell vehicles. They will take pictures, videos from actual dealerships or used car lots. The ones that we dealt with were with classic cars. And people then will wire the money to said person selling this car. Well, when it comes to the delivery, they don't get the car. It's fake. There was one that we had where it looked very legitimate. He had pictures of it was like a 69 Camaro, really nice looking SS, like top of the line Camaro that you want to get if you're into those kind of classic cars. Pictures of every angle, interior. There was a video of the car, which we found out he actually took from the actual dealership, and then he dubbed his voice over the video to make it sound like it was actually his video. Thankfully, that person was able to get his money back. That's the extent of my knowledge of what that case where that went. But be conscious of those types of scams. Unfortunately, me and my ex-wife, we were looking for a dog. She found a yellow lab puppy for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Looked like a reputable, at least to her, breeder. She ended up sending the person $200. It was through Apple Pay. We set up a time, place to meet, look at the dog, pay the rest of the money to get the puppy. I didn't look at the Facebook page until we got to the parking lot. And then I started going through it and I was like, okay, she just created this. And this was probably in 2022 when this happened. It's like she just created this in 2021. That's a little strange. Most people, at least my age or so, have had Facebook since its inception. So, okay, she's about my age. Why does she have a Facebook page that's only 1 year old? She has no pictures on there. Yes, you can make your profile private, but for the most part, you're going to be able to at least see the profile pictures, and there's just generic pictures on there, which that was concerning to me. Didn't have she had maybe 40 friends on there, which, like I said, my age, you tend to have 200 to 300, maybe even up to 1,000. You could have a bunch of friends on there. So then my red flags are starting to go off. Like, this doesn't seem right. Long story short, person never showed up. With it being through Apple Pay, that is a third party paying system. Same with PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, all those things. You will not be able to get your money back. Thankfully, it was only like $200, so it wasn't like the end of the world, but still, like $200 is $200. It's a lot of money.
Could they do anything with your PayPal, Apple Pay account then though?
No, no. So
Once they get it, they can't do anything.
yeah, so
Okay,
my ex-wife sent them the money through our Apple Pay. It didn't have our bank account information or anything on
Okay.
there. It was just a transaction. It's pretty much those third party um, payment apps is like you're paying with cash.
Okay.
Like you give someone $200 in cash, they drive away, you're not getting that cash back.
Mhm.
Same concept.
Okay.
If you actually use your credit card, debit card, there's a bank behind those. Yes, our bank account is attached to Apple Pay, but since it's that third party, it's like I said, you're going to the ATM, taking cash out and paying with cash. Um, so like if we actually paid with a credit card, we probably would be able to get that back, file report. This was fraudulent. The other part was she started to put in the messages like, I'm going to report you to the Facebook FBI. Okay, no, you're not. There's no such thing. Um, so then it just, yeah, long and short of it, I should have been a little bit more diligent and looked at the profile before we actually sent any money for a deposit or anything like that. But to me, like when my ex-wife showed me the pictures, it was there's the puppy, then here's a video of the puppy, here's another picture of the puppy with the mom, here's like all this stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, that seems pretty legitimate. They were out of Milwaukee, so it was nearby, but it was fake. So be conscious of Facebook Marketplace. And that can coincide too with Craigslist, eBay, any of the selling websites. Crypto. We've been seeing an uptick in cryptocurrency where you may get a phone call or a text message saying, hey, you owe this certain money for sometimes they're pretending to be a government official. And they say, hey, you need to go to, there's these crypto Bitcoin ATMs now that you can go to and you can get Bitcoin. We've had a couple cases where people will go to those Bitcoin ATMs, they will take out money in Bitcoin form. There is an address that the people give them, send it to this address, which it's not a residential address. It's 562 KG15, like it's just a multitude of letters and numbers, symbols that creates this address, and that's where it gets sent to. The nice thing is we have two detectives that specialize in cryptocurrency fraud. They've gone to trainings way above my head for the training that they did. But if they can get that address very quickly, they can put a stop on it actually going through. It's a little bit harder for them to pull the money back, but if they get it in a very quick time frame, they are a lot more likely to stop that transaction from going through and you losing whatever amount of money you decided to put into this ATM and send to these people. We'll go back to this real quick. So the other thing with Facebook or phones, also the internet, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. There are scammers on there where we've seen it. Unfortunately, they like to target younger individuals, potentially individuals who are cognitively delayed. We've had a couple cases where an autistic individual had a friend request from a model looking woman. Like you would see her walking down the aisle in a bikini, Victoria's Secret type of model look. So of course, him being a little bit cognitively delayed and seeing this, like, oh, this is cool. I have a friend request from this beautiful woman, except boom, messages start coming in. Hey, how are you doing? So it starts off very cordial, like want to be your friend. Then it turns into more of a sexual aspect of you send me one, I send you one. Unfortunately, they fall for it and they start sending pictures. They get one with a face to identify who the person is. And then that's when they go in full bore of, I'm going to send this to all your friends. I'm going to send this to your family. You need to pay me $500 or this, I'm making this go viral. Now they're freaking out. I need to send them money. Otherwise, my family, everyone's going to see this. So then they send them money. So if you have grandkids, if you have kids, for your own sake too, if you are going to accept people on any social media, I tell my kids are young where they don't even have phones yet. But I have a stepson, soon to be stepson, who is 18, going to college next year. So that's a whole another thing. But myself and my fiance have talked to him about the dark web area of, you have to be very conscious of who you're accepting to be friends with, who you're talking to. If you haven't met them, and I tell them, if you haven't met them in person, don't accept them on social media because you have no idea who this person was. This person was actually, or most likely wasn't a male or a female. He was most likely a male or some criminal organization using these generic model photos to get money from, unfortunately, people that would fall for it or gullible. So be conscious on the social media aspect that there is a lot of scams that can happen on there. Email, phishing, not with an F, but with a PH. So as you can kind of see on the screen there, there's the definition where the fraudulent practice of sending emails or other messages portraying to be from reputable companies in order to include individuals to reveal personal information such as passwords and credit card numbers. Example, my grandma went through this. We believe it was most likely a phishing email. It came up as Spectrum. If you're not in Wisconsin watching this online, Spectrum is a large internet cable phone provider in Wisconsin. That's who she has for her internet. Got an email there, said click this link to pay bill. It actually wasn't from Spectrum. At a quick glance, it'll look like it's from that actual website, but there's going to be a little nuance in the email address that's not going to be correct. It could say Spectrum, but then also it could be at gmail.com. Spectrum's not using Gmail for their business. They are completely separate businesses. They're not using a Google email for Spectrum. Or it could be something as simple as that, or it could look almost identical to theirs, but they may have a period after the .com or something just very nuanced that's a little different. So we believe that she probably clicked on that, gave them now access to her Spectrum account, which then shows her bank account info for her automatic payments. And then they pretty much wiped her savings and checking. Thankfully, they were dumb enough where it stayed at a bank in California. We were able to pull it all back into her account. So she got all her money back. But frustrating on my end because I've done this presentation for both my grandparents. I've given them tips and tricks to do. Don't go. My one grandma, she's on her computer all the time. So it's like, I know you love to be on your computer and technology, but do not click on stuff. Do not click on the link. Don't do that. But like I said, thankfully she got her money back.
We just got a phone call like 2 weeks ago from AT&T.
Mhm.
And we've been having problems with our internet going out a lot, which a lot of people have. Well,
Mhm.
they said, well, we know the internet's been going out a lot. And we're calling all the people and we don't want to lose you as a customer. It all sounded good.
Mhm.
Well, in the end, they're like, and for this, we want to give you a free $2,000 phone. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't need a new phone. Cause now I'm starting to catch on, like this person's starting to sound funny.
Yeah.
I'm mad at myself already that I just wasted 15 minutes. And I said, no, and then they got mad at me
Mhm.
and started like yelling at me.
Yeah.
Well, then I hung up, but.
Yeah. With the,
So I called AT&T. No, they weren't making these
Mhm.
phone calls.
Yeah, and the people that will call,
But
they are
know what's
very, yeah.
That the internet has been going out a lot.
Yep, they are very good at acting. Um, if they could be actors, they'd probably be like Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise making millions of dollars. Because what they will do is, like I said, with the government officials or the sales rep, something like that, they will search the areas that they are calling to know what is the most common AT&T, Spectrum, T-Mobile, whatever it is. They will do their due diligence. They'll research it. They'll find out, okay, this is primarily a Spectrum area. We're going to act as Spectrum salespeople. We're going to look up their actual number for their 1-800 number. Yep. So then they'll use that number, or they'll, when they're talking to you, they'll say, hey, I'm Garrett Olson. I'm with through Spectrum. Here's my ID number. And then they'll just rattle off some random number. So now on the phone, you're thinking, okay, this does sound legitimate. Like he gave me his ID number. He told me where he's from. Uh, he just gave me the 1-800 for Spectrum or for AT&T, whatever it is. So now it's in your mind that they're playing those games with you where, okay, yeah, maybe this person is legitimate. But then once they start fishing to get more information out of you, like you said, now they became super angry with you. A normal customer service rep through those reputable companies isn't going to lose their top and start, berating you or being angry with you. Yeah, they're probably internally going to be upset, like, dang, I missed that sale, but they're not going to, go off the wall on you. So same kind of instance with the phone aspect of don't answer it. Look up your account on, there's apps now for pretty much We Energies, that's our electric company in Wisconsin, or like Spectrum or T-Mobile or AT&T, whatever you have, log in to your account, look at the actual number that you need to contact and call them. Postage mail, we don't see a whole lot of this, at least in my city, in Greenfield. We don't really see this anymore. A lot of it now is that computer internet crimes, the text messaging, the phone calls. That's primarily what we see now. Back in the day, we would see some postage mail of, you're a winner, you won this stuff, contact this number and you just won $5,000. Awesome. A lot of those were fake. There'd also be some I received when I used to bank at a different bank. I received a letter that seemed very legitimate, had their letterhead on the top, had their logo. It said that I owed some money, which I was like, I shouldn't owe any money. And I had gotten one previously where my ex-wife did overdraft. So that one was actually legitimate. I contacted the bank. Okay, it was overdrafted. Yep, we'll pay the overdraft fee. We'll get money back in there. But then it was a while later, then we got another one. And I was like, no, I already took care of this. So then I actually went into my branch, brought the letter, like, nope, that's fake. That's not from us. But they will, you can look at Google and get any logo you want to get from whatever company you want to portray as. And so we don't see that a whole lot anymore, but just so you guys are aware, it is still possible to receive postage mail that people are acting as government officials or banks. Bless you. So we kind of already touched on all of this when I spoke about the phones. Hang up, utilize caller ID, talk to someone, don't give out information over the phone. Obviously, the last point there, if you know who you're talking to, if you are talking to your doctor, if you are talking to your bank and they need you to pay for your bill or whatever, yes, at that point, you can give them your information of credit card or whatever. But if it's just a random number that is calling you and you aren't sure who it is, hang up. Don't give out the information over the phone. I know it may be an inconvenience to actually get up and drive to the actual bank or to the actual doctor's office or wherever you need to go, but that's usually the best way anyways. You know you're going to that place, you know you are talking to the right people, and you're paying what you need to pay to the actual company. Computer scams, what to do. You can back up your data, external hard drives, all that kind of stuff. You can back up all that on there. Use strong passwords. Now you usually get prompted to change your password every month or every so often. Now you need capital letters. You need it to be 13 characters or more. You need to have numbers. You have to have symbols. All of that is to make it harder for people to figure out what your password is and to get into it. So always have strong passwords, change them occasionally. I have to write them down, otherwise I forget them. Or you have the Face ID now on your phone, so it's just boom, sees my face, it logs in, and then, oh, it didn't catch my face right now. I actually have to put in my password. Now I'm scratching my head. You know, which one of the 10 passwords did I use? Don't click on unknown emails or links. We touched on that already. Just be very conscious of that. Don't click on links, because if you do, they could then get access to your computer. Or the one of the other points on the far right side where it says sharing your screen. Be conscious of that if you are talking to someone who's claiming they're through the Geek Squad with Best Buy or something else. Be conscious of if you're going to share their screen, because once you share your screen, they have access to everything on your computer. If you have all your bank information, your taxes, you name it, on your computer, they could then have access to it. Antivirus malware protection. I don't have any suggestions for what ones you should get, but you can do your research on what type of antivirus malware protection you want to get on your computers. Lock your computers. I mean, if you're at home and it's just you and your significant other or something like that, you don't have to lock it all the time. Sometimes the laptops, they lock automatically when you close them and you have to re-log in. Obviously, if you go out in public with your laptops and stuff, lock them. I guess even at home, in the rare chance a burglary were to happen at your house, your computer's locked. Could they get into it later on? Maybe, but it's just another step that makes it harder for people to get into. Is your Wi-Fi secure? You go to places, they have public Wi-Fi. Those are not secure. You usually don't require a password. You can just get onto Wi-Fi, Starbucks, you know, places like that where their Wi-Fi is not secure. Most of residential Wi-Fis are secure. You have to have a password to access your own Wi-Fi. So I would just make sure at your own residences, you have your Wi-Fi secured through a password, so no one can just get on there willy-nilly. Limit access. That's your browser, you can limit access to different sites. You can not have a certain website, you can't get access to that. You can do that on your computer yourself doing that. Talked about the sharing your screen, get rid of data. If you don't need a certain document you wrote 15 years ago that's on your computer still, get rid of it. Especially if it has social security numbers, personal identifying information on there, get rid of it. Old equipment, you can always do a factory reset on them. Like say you just got a brand new laptop, you have your old laptop, transferred all the data you need, factory reset, take it to a reputable electronic recycling place where they will make sure everything is off of it and they will do the proper way to dispose of the computers and make sure nothing is on there. So identity theft, these are the three major credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Those are their websites and their phone numbers to do a security freeze. I was explaining to the people here that if you freeze your credit, it is free. You can pay for additional protections. If you want fraud alerts, higher protection through those bureaus, you can pay for them. Otherwise, if you just want to freeze your credit, it is free. I have mine frozen and it's very quick to do. I think it took me maybe when I set it up 2, 3 years ago. I think it took me maybe 30, 40 minutes. I called the bureaus directly instead of going on their website. So that's why it took a little bit longer. If you go through the websites, it's very, very quick and easy to do. If you do have your credit frozen, some people are under the assumption that if my credit is frozen, I can't use anything. That's not true. You can still use your credit cards. You can still use your bank accounts. The freeze is on your credit to not have things taken out under your name. So if you want to get a new car, if you want to get a new credit card, if you're trying to buy a house, anything that requires a credit check, you're going to have to unfreeze your credit to then go and do that. But when it's frozen, you're protected for no one to be able to take things out under your name. And then you just have to remember to unfreeze it to be able to do those types of transactions if you want to. The other bullet point there is a Social Security. That is their fraud hotline. They do not give us a dollar amount when it comes to identity theft. You can change your Social Security number. However, like I said, the Social Security Administration has not given us a dollar amount. They say in there that has to reach a certain value. Is that $1,000? Does it have to reach over $100,000? 500? Like, we don't know. So if you do feel like your Social Security number has been compromised, you can contact the Social Security Administration through their fraud hotline number and request a change in Social Security number. Obviously, that then creates more of a pain for you, where then you would have to change things at work, everything, that revolves around your Social Security number. But there is that option if you do feel like your number has been compromised. I wish I could tell you that they will change it right away, but I thankfully have not had to do that myself. So if you call them, they'll be able to give you a lot more information than I can when it comes to that. How to protect yourself from identity theft? Ask your bank to protect your accounts. You can go into your bank and say, hey, I want to have a 2ID authentication whenever I do a deposit, or not a deposit, but like a withdrawal, where I need to bring in my driver's license, and then if you conceal carry that ID card too, or my Social Security card, or some other type of form of ID, and then a signature as well to be able to take withdrawals out. You can have your bank do that. Talk to your bank about that. If you want any type of protections on your accounts, they can help you out with that. Second bullet point, do not carry your Social Security card, birth certificate, or your passport every day. Obviously, if you're going overseas, you're going to need your passport. Yes, bring that with you. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get on that plane and go to Italy or wherever you want to go. Don't carry your Social Security card in your wallet or your purse, birth certificate. Keep that in a safety deposit box or safe at home, something like that, where it's secure. The main reason I say that is because if the unfortunate event happens where someone snatches a purse, pickpockets your wallet, and your Social Security card is in there, 9 times out of 10, your driver's license is in there as well. So now they have your name, your date of birth, your address, and now your Social Security number. They can access everything now. They have all your information that they need to do whatever they want to do. So just, I guess, advice, don't carry those with you. If you need them for any type of changes through your life with marriages, divorces, deaths, anything like that, and you need those, obviously, yes, those days, take those, but then protect them and have them locked up somewhere. Don't put your Social Security number on phone number on checks. Some people still do that for taxes. I'm not really sure why you need to put your social security number on the check when the IRS already has that information. I know that was more of a thing back in the day. Now with TurboTax and the other tax websites you can do your taxes on, or your tax experts that you take your taxes to. A lot of it is all electronic now, and you can just use if you have to pay taxes, you can use your bank account numbers or debit cards or whatever that is that you need to do that. So, especially I've known some people have used checks to pay for groceries, and then they put their phone number on the check. That's not, you're not giving out your personal information by putting your phone number on the check. Anyone can get your phone number anywhere. I mean, shoot, we all get the text messages from the DMV and from other scams. So they're out there. The phone number isn't a huge thing. It's more the social security number. Don't put that on a check. And then the last bullet point, shred important documents. Your previous tax forms, after the certain amount of time lapses, get rid of them. I go a little bit maybe paranoid, if you want to say that. When I get mail, I shred the envelope because it has my name and address on it. That's me. You don't have to go that far. But even when I get stuff from dealerships or whatever, we're having a sale, shred it. I have a shredder at home, so I fill up that bag pretty quick. But I would just say the main important things, if your full name, address, date of birth, social security number, if those are on those documents and you don't need those documents anymore, shred them or bring them to a place that has a shred bin that they will get rid of the document for you. So that's kind of the main presentation of scams and identity theft, how to protect yourself, what to look out for, things like that. This is just statistics for Greenfield, for where I work. The calls for service we take a year, and then the reportable cases. So when I say a case, it comes from a call. We get a call, we respond to it, say a call is generated for a retail theft. We go there, it's an actual retail theft, someone stole something. That then generates a case because we are doing a report, we are making an arrest, or we're doing a further investigation on whatever the crime may have been. So we average close to about 30,000 calls for service a year. That also includes like your traffic stops, business checks. Hey, I'm stopping at Starbucks for a coffee, or the donut shop to go get my donut and coffee. That is included in that calls for service. And then the cases. So we hover around about 8% of our calls generate a case. And you can see on the right column there that 3,500 to potentially 4,000 cases a year. And that's just for Greenfield. We're a size of about 36,000 people, a little bit more than that, 12 square miles. So we're kind of a smaller but very dense city. And that's the amount of calls and cases we take. In relation to what we're talking about today with identity theft, this is for, like I said, specifically Greenfield. So these numbers here are forgery, credit card fraud, computer, internet crimes, and identity theft. So this is how many calls we take as a city a year. We had a dip last year, but we hover right around that 150 mark. Now this, like I explained in the last slide, calls versus cases, these are calls. So of say 2024, we had 164 calls for these 4 different types of potential crime. Of those 164, not all of those turned into cases. Some of those could have been a person calling us, hey, I received this text message from the DMV, and we tell them, don't respond to it. They're not out any money. They didn't give out any information. It's just a call. We just documented it. We didn't do any further investigation on that. So it's still documented, but we're not actively investigating that because they're not a victim of anything. They just received a text message. They didn't give out any information or lose any money. So we don't take a case. As you can see, I updated this yesterday. We're at 42 calls so far this year. So we're kind of on track to be close to that 150 mark for the year. The interesting thing is in 23, we did not have the computer internet crime. So anything prior to 2023, we did not have the computer internet crime label. Everything was either identity theft, credit card fraud, or forgery. But then in 2024, we added that computer internet crime because we were seeing more of a spike in that type of crime. So that's why there's a little bit more in 2024. Last year was kind of nice. We had a dip down in it. So we'll see what this year ends out to be. But just some statistics for you to just kind of see that it is prevalent. Like I said, we're a city of 38,000 people. And we do get quite a bit of calls for this type of crime. Was that like 10, 12 a month we take? So a little bit more than that, maybe 15. So it is out there, and just be vigilant on protecting yourself and your identity and your bank stuff. That's all I have for you guys. If you have any questions, I can take questions or comments or anything like that. So,
Okay, thank you, Garrett. We appreciate it.
yep.
Does anyone have any questions? And if you do, specifically, you may want to reach out to your local police department as well, law enforcement department, for specific to your area. And I think we answered a few questions along the way. So with that, I'm going to close this out. We greatly appreciate this valuable information and your expertise,
Thank you.
Garrett. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.